Hello, everyone. We're getting started in just a second. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let me stop our music. All right. Hello, hello, hello. We are now back for another awesome episode of, or shall I say, another exclusive interview. Let me get that straight. Another exclusive interview. And she's going to drop some gems and jewels on you. I was going to say this evening, but whenever you are listening to this video, so I'm going to give you a few minutes. Go ahead, grab a pen and a pad, okay? Because she is going to give you some good nuggets and some good gems that you are going to want to have in order to be able to scale your business, okay? And yes, today we are talking about leadership. So 𝙌𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙉'𝙎 Roundtable Leadership Symposium is going on as we speak. And I just want to say, please make sure that you check out all of the other awesome expert interviews that I'm doing, okay? Because these ladies are all powerhouses, and they're going to give you all different types of things to put in your toolbox to be able to level up in your personal as well as your professional life. So I am none other than your host, Jacqueline Kaba-Harrison, for these symposiums, which happen in May, or shall I say, let's start at the beginning of the year, January, May, and September. If you have not taken a seat at the table, then you need to take a seat at the table. For the next one that's coming up in September, follow me, show up in my inbox, shoot me an email, and let me know you are interested in participating, and we can sit down and have a conversation. I am also the host for 𝙌𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 Roundtable Show and podcast, which also airs we go live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Speaking of Facebook, go ahead and follow me on Facebook, my business page, which is Realizing Your Potential, the numbers 123. Okay, that way, and turn your notifications on. That way you can get alerts when I'm going live. Okay, so make sure that you do that. If you have any other questions, you can always go to my email address, to my email address and or my website, right? Which is the same, Realizing Your Potential, and either at Gmail or Realizing Your Potential, the numbers 123 at gmail.com or .com. All right. And that's actually listed on the screen as well. So you can definitely reach out to me there. If you are interested in being a show host, because I am also the executive channel producer of the 𝙌𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 Roundtable channel on the Women Win Network, reaching 100 million homes. So if you are really looking to level up, you want to explode your visibility, you want to increase your credibility, you want to network, you want to just be in good company with other like-minded business owners that are really serious about scaling their business this year, then definitely, again, show up in my inbox, follow me on Facebook, or shoot me a message through my website. Just show up in some form or fashion. Okay, so drum roll, please. Right? Okay. So I have Juana. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to her. Juana, I'm giving you the mic. Let the ladies know who you are, how you serve, and who you serve. So who you are, who you serve, and how you serve, and tell them a little bit about yourself and the why behind your business.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ladies and everyone that is watching. Thank you, Miss Jacqueline, for having me. I love being on your show, and I'm so excited about the symposium. So thank you again for having me being on here to talk to everyone. So like she said, my name is Juana Lyles. I am the owner and founder of LIT Wellness Center. That is Live Intentionally Today Wellness Center. And I am a host of Live Intentionally Today podcast. I'm the proud owner. I'm a proud veteran, Army veteran that is, and licensed professional counselor in the state of Georgia. I specialize in childhood, sexual, and combat-related traumas. My practice provides therapeutic services for the mind, body, and spirit. I offer assistance with healing from trauma, depression, and anxiety. I use a special type of therapy called brain spotting, and I also use what most people know as cognitive behavior therapy, or CBT. So I use this in my therapy practices to help people, mainly children at least 10 years old and older. Okay. And I also love working with couples that's pre-married, before marriage, and married couples going through issues, because I believe the root of all issues comes from some type of trauma. Sometimes it happens in the womb before you even know it. And so my mission is to help people start living and not just surviving. I'm walking in my purpose, y'all, to help others live the intended life that God has planned for them to live. I understand that it's difficult to go through changes in life, and I'm just ready to equip people with those tools to help them to learn, love, and live again. So that's kind of a little bit about me. The reason I started my practice was exactly that. I myself have gone through trauma in my own life. And so I know so many people with trauma. And it was kind of, my actual trauma led me, just like many other clinicians, we gone through something. So we ended up being helpers, so it kind of led me in this path. And my brother was actually a person who had gone through PTSD from combat, and I didn't even realize my own trauma was stopping me, or hindering me in many ways, that it was hindering me or hurting those around me. So, but I saw his, you know what I mean? Like, I saw other people's trauma, but I didn't see mine. And so that kind of started me off into my path of doing my undergrad in psychology. And when I started doing that, I was just like, wow, this is so interesting. And in the military, I was already helping soldiers. So I was just like, it just came so easy and so natural for me. And so I realized that this was my God-given purpose. And so here I am. And through all the stuff, Lit Wellness Center began. So here I am.
Here you are. Okay. Now tell us again. LIT stands for
Live Intentionally Today.
Live Intentionally Today. I love it. That's a wonderful name. I love it. So let me say again, and I know I always forget that you're a veteran.
Yes.
So how many years did you serve, and what branch did you serve in?
So I served for, Miss Jacqueline, 18 and a half years. So I served in the Army, both my husband and myself. My husband actually did get to like fully retire after, I think he did like just a little over 20 or just right at 20. But I served 18 and a half, and I got ill. And so I had to do a medical retirement. So I did a medical retirement.
Okay.
And my father is also a veteran. So my whole life, all I knew was the Army. So
it was the Army. Wow. Okay. That's always interesting to me. And I know another coach, and she's still in the military. I forget what branch. But yeah, and that's a whole interesting niche. You know what I mean? Specifically, or at least I know she caters her services, specifically to women that are leaving the armed forces and that are, kind of closing that chapter of their life, if you will, and, doing something else, helping them transition into their own business. So that's her little niche, leaving the armed forces and helping them, transition into their own business, whatever that may be. But yeah. Okay, all right. So the armed forces. Wow. Okay. And let me just say this too. You don't even look like you're old enough to have been in the armed forces for no 18 and a half years. Let me just say that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Out there.
Thank you.
So we're talking about leadership today. So let's open it up with, when would you say you first began to see yourself as a leader? Like, how did that all come about for you?
And I think on the panel, if people didn't get to see the panel, I'll reiterate that my dad was like, you are born a leader. So from day one, he's just like, my maiden name is Watford. I know it's like a weird last name, but he was like, you're a Watford and you go out in this world and you represent, so it was just like, there was no shortcomings on that. So whatever we did, he expected excellence, so he said, you step in a room and you own a room. He said, you don't walk with your head down. So these were things that I was taught early on. And I'm just like, what is he talking about? Like, whatever. But I had to, as I grew older, I realized that my parents grew up they were born in the 50s, but they grew up in the 60s and 70s. And, life wasn't easy for them. If I'm not mistaken, my mom did go to segregated schools and then she remembers when schools became integrated. So, she has shared those stories with me. And I know other family members as well. And so these are things that they were living. And, that's generational trauma type stuff, And so these are things that they were living. So my father did not want me to have to feel like disempowered, because I was a Black woman, and knowing that things that like his mother, his grandmother, my mother, my maternal grandmother, things that they had to go through, he didn't want that for his oldest child, which is me, his daughter, to go through. And so, both him and my mother, they were both very much like, no, you go everywhere, you a leader, people, you are not a follower, you don't do everything that everybody else do, and so it's just like, okay. So it was just beat into me, for lack of a better word. They didn't really beat me, but it was just beat into me.
Having these different conversations with all of you, you and the other ladies that I've interviewed, it's, each time, something comes up that I hadn't really thought about, or it helps me to learn something more about myself, or maybe gives me a different perspective on how to help other African American women in leadership roles. And saying all that to say, just hearing your story, and I do remember you sharing that on the panel, and I think it's so cool how you were raised to be a leader. Like you walk with your head up, and I'm here. And I like really thinking about that. I don't think I was ever taught that. I don't think I was ever taught that by my mother, my father, aunts, uncles. I don't think anyone ever told me that. Definitely. No one ever even mentioned to me anything about being a leader. So it's just interesting. Like I said, it just kind of gets me to thinking a little bit more about my journey, and everyone's journey, is different, but you, like you said, you really didn't have a choice.
Right.
You was gonna be from the minute your feet hit the floor, you were, called a leader, So I and thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
But Miss Jacqueline, it's also, how some people are like, I remember from our panel, it's like, you don't know that you're a leader, but you end up being a leader.
Yeah.
I must say too, that even though that was, something that was taught to me, that this is who you are, excuse me, it's still hard, it's stressful, because I always, to some extent, I'm like, I can't do anything wrong. I have to always be on point. I always have, so then already at a young age, I'm stressed out thinking like, different kind of things, like that I have to be on point all the time. And so, again, like when things happen to me, I'm like, well, I'm a leader. Leaders can't, you can't be hurt. People can't see you, you got to show up all the time. You got to be on all the time. You know what I mean? So if I'm sick, or, like right now, I was telling you, I have bronchitis. I have to still show up because I'm a leader. You know, I can't let the people down. I can't let my family down because I'm a leader. You know what I mean? So sometimes you forget to take care of yourself. So
you know what? And that's something that we haven't, I don't think is, and if it came up, maybe it came up with one other lady, but that's a whole nother topic in itself, right? In
right.
terms of the showing up and not in with all of the expectations that comes along from other people and of yourself that comes along with being a leader. Maybe we'll do a part two.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because like I said, we haven't talked about that aspect of it. So let me ask you this: what would you say? And I know you kind of touched on it, and a lot of this does overlap. But what would you say are some of the good characteristics of a leader?
Well, since we were talking about that, taking care of yourself is something you need to be as a good leader. Because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of others? Who is going to follow you if you can't take care of yourself? Right? So you have to do due diligence to yourself, show up for yourself so that you can be there for other people, right? So I think that's self-care is absolutely important. So as a leader, you have to take care of yourself. And see, that part of it wasn't necessarily taught to me about how to take care of yourself, but I had to learn that part, you know. So yes, so take care of yourself. Another characteristic I think would be to be a good listener, because sometimes, you know, there's different leadership styles, you know, and so throughout my military career, especially, I've had all different kinds of leadership styles. But I learned, you know, I took from all types of leaders, but I learned to be a good listener, because and another thing is not to think that you're better than anyone else, because you can always learn. So just making sure that you're always learning, you're always listening, you know, because sometimes we get so high up here that we forget about that we used to be down there too. And so when you know, just staying competent in the things that what you're doing, you know, whatever your business is, you know, if I'm a baker, if I don't know that there's a new kitchen gadget out and I'm still hand mixing with a spoon, they, you know, they got a whole KitchenAid. It don't make sense for me to just sit there and keep mixing with a spoon, tire myself out, you know. So you have to be competent and learn, you know. So I think those are just being a good listener, you know, being able to be coachable, you know, those types of things, because you can
And
always
that came up.
Yeah.
That came up. Yep. The sense of being able to follow, or you know, and people say it in different ways. Being able to follow, being an ongoing learner.
Right.
You know, not this whole thing. I'm up here, and you know, you're my little subordinate. You're my peon, and you're down here, and you know. So, yep,
Right.
yep. So some similarities are coming up, and like you mentioned about communication, I believe you said, being able to learn, not feeling like, you know, like I'm up here and you're down there. And did I miss any of your points?
No, I think that's
Okay.
good. You know, especially like the communication, just being able to talk to people, because, you know, people will respect you. And I think that's another, I didn't say that, but just, you know, people in the military, I learned I have to respect your rank, you know, your position kind of thing. But I would rather for someone to respect me, not because of my position of authority, you know.
And you know what, like, and I know this is kind of veering off, but for those of you that know me, you know how I do. When the spirit moves me, that's where I go. So how does that feel? Like, I don't know anything about the military, meaning that I've never been in the military. I mean, I have a cousin, a first cousin, but I don't talk to him regularly, you know. So I don't really have, I have an uncle too. Not about him. I don't really have a good reference. So, but what I'm trying to bring up is, you said that you rather, or I guess you kind of talked about respecting the rank. So I guess from what I know, and I just know what I see on TV. Okay, so just bear with me, okay? But I know that you're supposed to give respect to that rank.
Yes.
And it doesn't really matter whether you, I guess, respect the person per se. So I don't know what's that like? Like, what's that like? What do you?
So like, for me, I was in a lot of different leadership positions.
Mm-hmm.
And so people had to do what I said just because of my position of authority and the rank that I wore, because my rank was higher than them.
Mm-hmm.
My position of authority was higher than theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So automatically, by default, they had to do what I said to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because of the type of leader that I was, they did it because Juana said do it. Not because
I like that.
𝙍𝙊𝙀𝙀𝙉𝙎 said go do it,
I like that.
and I don't want to do it. And they fuss the whole time. But I would do stuff with them. That's the kind of leader I would. If somebody higher than me said go shovel the snow, I'm going out there to shovel the snow with you. I'm not going to tell you to do something that I wouldn't do myself.
Okay.
But my people respected me so much that they say, hey, Lyles, we got this. I know you have something else to do.
Okay.
We got this. Or they, so they respected me, not my rank. I mean, they did respect my rank, but it was much more, it was deeper than that. So, it was almost like a family. It wasn't necessarily like just because we're at this job and I have to do, like even on a regular job, when you have a supervisor, if you care about your supervisor and your supervisor cares about you, it goes deeper than just.
Oh my! You know what? Yes, I'm sorry, but yes, and that came up is to be, as a leader, you lead by example.
Yes.
You lead by example, and it's a relationship. It's a relationship. You know what I mean? It's not just I tell you do this, and like how you so eloquently said that yes, you have the rank, but they respect you. It's not just lieutenant, or I don't, lieutenant or sergeant Lyles said do this. I'm okay, so we got to do it. But it's yes, Sergeant Lyles did say this, but I want to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So I think it's a difference, but just even something as simple as like maybe if I'm out sick at work and something as simple as me coming back the next day, just something as simple as my boss saying, okay, well, you feeling better today? Just even something that, and I don't know what made me think of that right just at this moment, but just something as simple as that.
Yes.
Can make it made a difference for me. Now, of course, it's my job. I know I have to do what you tell me to do. I know that what you're telling me to do is in the best interest of the company, usually. Okay. But like I feel some kind of way about that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, that impacted my performance or anything like that. But now that we're talking about leadership, that didn't make me feel very supported, if you will. You know what I mean? And I'm not, so just even those basic things, I know things like that make me feel supported. If I feel that you take somewhat of an interest in who I am as a person, because to me, an effective leader, you have to know somewhat, right, the people that you're leading, to even kind of know what drives them, So I think it's reciprocal. And I like what you said about, you get out there and do it with them, whereas, some supervisors are like, oh, that's beneath me. I don't do that anymore. I'm a licensed clinical social worker as well. And just thinking back to some of the different environments I've worked in, and some of the supervisors, honey, if they found out they had to go talk to a client, oh, it's like, oh no, I don't, almost like I don't do that anymore. It's just like, really? Like this is what we gonna do? Kind of a thing. But you know what I mean? And to me, thinking back to those situations, I felt supported when the supervisor would say to me, maybe I'm coming, during supervision, we're, talking about a challenging client, and she'll say, well, how do you feel? Do you feel okay talking with them? Or, maybe how about this? Maybe you want to talk to him, and then if you feel like you need me to step in to back you up, I'm there. What can I do to help you feel more supported? Versus supervisors like, well, just tell them this and that. I've literally had supervisors literally almost, they may not say it, but their actions show that they don't care what happened. They are not coming out there to talk to their client, period. Even if the client say they want to talk to them, oh, I'm not available. I'm not available to talk to them.
Yes. I know it. Yes.
Yes. If you think about it, and like I said, I'm just kind of sitting here like over the years, I've had like how you said with your military experience. Of course, I mean, I'm 50 years old. I done had all kinds of bosses. Some were good, some weren't as good. But now that I'm older and have more experience and more wisdom, I can tell you, if I sat down and thought about it, I could tell you who was a good supervisor and who wasn't. I had shared with another one of the ladies. I had a supervisor who he literally told me, I just started the job, maybe about a week on the job, and he was like, "Well, if you have any questions, don't come to me. Don't come and ask me. If you have a question, you go to her or you go to her." I was like, okay, like in what world is that okay? I was just like, okay,
ridiculous.
Listen, you ain't got to worry about me coming to you. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm not saying that's right, everybody, but that's the way Jackie's mind works. I was like, oh, okay, you ain't got to worry about that.
Right. And you won't go to them.
I sure didn't. It was like he didn't even exist. Look, just sign his timesheet and we good.
And that's not what you want as a leader, right? You want your people to come to you. You want, and that's how I always was. And something I think my coach, Glendora, has been, she did an interview as well. Excuse me. But something that she teaches us is about being visible, confident, and competent. And so can you imagine being a leader hiding up in your closet, in your office somewhere, not being visible? How do people go, you know what I mean? Like, who's going to respect you? And again, it's about, I have to respect you because of your position. So, sign this timesheet for me so I can get my paycheck.
I know that sounds bad, but I'm just keeping it real. I mean,
But that's it. It's just
I
act
accordingly. Yeah, right. And and that's what employees do, right? They act accordingly. If they get a supervisor, most people, okay, y'all, if they get a supervisor that seems like they're gonna be supportive and really, want to work with them and help them do the best that they can do at that job and things of that nature, then usually they'll roll with that. But if you get one that's like don't come to me or don't call, they do one of these, then you act accordingly. I acted accordingly. Like, okay, no problem.
Right.
So, well, listen, okay, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we will be right back and continue this awesome conversation about leadership. Uh-oh. Right, here we go. All right, we'll be right back.
Realizing Your Potential LLC presents Born to Lead, Awakening the Leader Within. This anthology brings together women that have overcome hardships in their lives and have managed not only to survive, but thrive. Their stories focus on resiliency, adaptability, and strength, acknowledging the innate strength and leadership qualities in African American women.
All right. We are back. This is the second half. Miss Juana,
Yes, ma'am.
what would you say are some of the challenges that you have experienced? And I know yours are going to be probably a little bit more slightly different, coming from a military background. But what are some of the challenges that you have faced being a woman, not only being a woman, but also being a woman of color in your professional life?
So I do have both, you know. So in the military, it was challenging for being a woman of color, like you were saying, because one, just being a woman, because military is, it's an old career, but it was male dominated. So women weren't even allowed to be in the military. It's just not been very long, that women could be in the military. And so then being a woman and then having leadership roles was, men weren't going to listen to you. And, you would have to work much harder. We had the same standards. So we had to still meet the same requirements as men, and the military is still accomplishing a lot of hurdles with women, like women now are able to be in combat roles and be in those types of positions that, God bless them. I don't want to do that. I was in the medical field, but for any woman that wanted to do that before, it wasn't allowed, so for women that want to do that, I'm glad that they can do that now, because it was not a place for women. So challenges for me were just people like my soldiers, the people that I worked with, my subordinates, they respected me, but a lot of the higher ups didn't want to listen to me. They did, so just fighting for that, just, I know what I'm talking about. Can you listen to me? And I'm a small person, when I say my voice is soft a lot of times. And so I'm 5'3" tall, and then I have a soft voice. So there's like whatever. So then when I have to get loud, I have to get loud. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute, So it was challenging just sometimes, commanding the presence in the room. And, when people would, because when I show up, I'm not always just like hollering at folks, So even though, as my father would tell me, you walk in the room with your head up high, all this kind of stuff, I would do that. But people still look, because I'm short, their heads are like this, looking past me. They don't see me because I'm not eye to eye with people. So it was challenging to, stand real tall and get all of that. But in the counseling field, it's a little bit challenging too, because and you as well as being a clinician, it's we are undervalued for what we do. People trust us with their lives. We get to know people on such an intimate level. We have to go through so much schooling, and then you get paid pennies in a sense. We have to go through a lot of hurdles and challenges, just, with insurance companies and all of that kind of stuff, just the politics and bureaucratic stuff, as far as that goes, with licensing, things like that other professions don't have to deal with. But so those types of challenges are there. Like political things are more challenging, I think, in our field. For me, as far as, like I live in Georgia. I mean, I live in Alabama, but I live on the state line. So I'm licensed in Georgia. I work in Georgia. Everything I do is in Georgia, right? But I live in Alabama. It's so hard to get my license in Alabama. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's only because, I can do it, and I'm in the process of it. But what I'm saying is, it's like from state to state, every state is like scrutinizes everything.
Right.
And
Yes.
if
Okay.
so if you miss one little thing or you need this, then they can deny you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just
Yeah.
like, but I did all this, and you pay all this money, and you do, but it's okay. I mean, I basically live in Georgia. I live like 5 minutes away from Georgia. But so, it was easier for me to do everything in Georgia
Okay.
because I got my jobs in Georgia and everything, so that's why I got licensed in Georgia.
Right.
But yeah, just trying to meet all those types of challenges financially and things like that, but it makes you just
So
want to not.
I that's crazy though. The fact that you live like 5 minutes away from Georgia like that. That's funny. But so with the next, I would say 5 minutes,
Mhm.
if you could tell us what tip or tool do you want to leave the ladies with in terms of leadership? And then if you could go into some of the different ways that they can find you again, and if you have any upcoming events or challenges or whatever it is that you want the ladies to know about.
Okay. Well, number one thing about leadership, just as I knew from birth that I was a leader, you are too. And look at me, I'm getting close to the screen. You are too. You may not recognize it, but you are born a leader. Why? Because God says so. You are, Lord, you are a child of the Most High God, and He says that you are. He wanted this life for us. So you are born a leader automatically. I just had an earthly father that told me that, but you have a heavenly father that tells you that. So if you study the book and you'll read it and you'll know it for yourself that He wants better for you. So just get in touch with that. And if that's not what your forte is, then I mean, there's other things that you can find out that help you know that you are a leader. We all have it within us. If you are a mom, if you're a wife, even if you're a single woman, there is someone that looks up to you. There is someone that is watching you. So you may not recognize it and you might minimize it. And so that's when you need to see me, somebody like me, a therapist. They can help you with all those things that you minimize about yourself because you are a person that can maximize. And so somebody else is looking at you. So just remember that somebody else is looking up to you. So you are a leader. You just don't know it yet. And so see, even the name of Miss Jacqueline is realizing your potential. You just haven't realized it yet. So you are a leader. You just don't know it, girl. That's all. And so you said that's a tip. So you are a leader. I don't know why you don't know it. So you are. So we ain't even gonna talk about it. You are a leader. So some things that I have coming up, I do in October-ish, in the fall sometime. So be on the lookout. I do have a workshop. It's called I Am an Overcomer, that part. And that's where I help people realize that so this would be good for someone that doesn't know these things. And so they are being stifled about life because trauma, I'm a trauma therapist. So there are things in your life, we call them parts. So there's a part of you, we hear people talk about this part of me feel like I want to do this. This part of me feels like I want to do that. And so I go deep about these parts, the parts of you that stop you from doing things, but it's probably because of some trauma that you've experienced. So I want to help you realize how those parts have been stopping you. So that's what that workshop will be about, and how to overcome those parts of that trauma. And people can reach me. I'm on Facebook. My personal Facebook is Juana Lyles. You can't get up in there unless you really my friend, but you can still try to reach out on me. But if you want to join my business page, it is Live Intentionally Today. You can search it by searching at the Lit Podcast. You can do that. And I'm on there live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And I have a lot of good tips and things like that. I'm also on Instagram, Juana Lyles. I will see you on there. You know, I will accept friends on there. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
Okay. So that was Facebook and Instagram. Are you on LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn too. Juana Lyles.
Just under your name. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everything is either Juana Lyles or Live Intentionally Today. I'm pretty easy. I'm on YouTube there. Like if you it's Live Intentionally Today.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty easy to find.
So reach out to Miss Lyles, everyone. If you have some questions, I guess you want to have a consultation. I guess you need therapy for yourself. Someone else. Definitely just reach out to her, right? If you have a question and not quite sure if she can help you, reach out to her.
Even if you're not in Georgia, I can answer a question. I know people in many other states. I can connect you to a resource.
Hey, that's right. Okay. She can connect you. So this has been wonderful. Thank you again for taking a seat at the table for the 𝙌𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙍𝙎 Roundtable Leadership Symposium, which is the #1 platform dedicated to personal, professional, and leadership development for African American women in business. Now, I have to let you all know this again. Born to Lead, Awakening the Leader Within. The anticipated launch is next month, June 2022. I am so excited. Now, make sure you follow me at Realizing Your Potential, the number 123 on Facebook, and turn your notifications on. That way, as soon as the book goes on pre-sale, you can go ahead and grab it. Get your written or either your written or electronic copy. I guess is what you want to call it, I guess. Either or. But when it goes on pre-sale, as soon as it drops, you'll know. All right? Definitely want you to check it out. It is awesome. It's stories of African American women talking about strength, adaptability, resiliency. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure that you pick it up and support, and it'll also help you to be able to boss up, be able to level up in your life as well as your business. Also want to let you guys know that if you are looking to expand your visibility, or shall I say maximize your visibility, I have some excellent opportunities for you between either or and coming on the 𝙌𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙍 Roundtable show and podcast, or if you want to be a show host and actually host your show on my 𝙌𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 Roundtable channel on the Women Win Network. And the Women Win Network is specifically dedicated to what? Women winning. Actually, to be exact, Women Win 365. Okay, so it's total women's empowerment. So if you're interested in that, you can go to my website there at Realizing Your Potential, the number's 123, and shoot me a message, or you can email me directly, realizingyourpotential123@gmail.com, or you can show up in my inbox. But let's have a conversation. If you are interested in maximizing your visibility, then we need to talk. Okay, and if you want to participate in the next symposium, which is going to be in September, don't have the exact date yet, but it will be in September, then let's talk. Let's have that conversation. All right. So thanks again. And thank you again to my guests. You have been phenomenal tonight. Thank you for sharing openly and honestly with us. And just giving us your wisdom. Okay. So much appreciated. And I know we'll be talking again in the future. And ladies, you all take care. And again, make sure you check out all of the other expert interviews as well. All right. Yes. I'll talk to you again soon, ladies. Bye, everybody.